Hey guys, my name is Dieter and today I'm going to be making a table out of wood. This will go very nicely with the chairs I made in a previous video. Like I said, I've never made a table before, so it might be really good or it might be absolute garbage. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first step, before I decided to cut any planks out of this, is we needed to dry out the planks. So I took this, they're like two rulers put together, they're used for navigation on boats. Picked some nice areas, and then I wanted to start cutting, but I wanted to cut nice and straight. So I found this old plum and lined it up and used some chalk to draw on the outside. I didn't use any pencil because it wouldn't be seen very well. So I did that here and here, and then we'll make these two cuts, and then we'll do the same process on this side. Once we've cut here, we'll have a nice smooth surface so that we'll be able to make nice lines for the two planks, which will be the two planks that make up our table. So now to cutting. Alright, so now for the first cut. Alright, so I've skipped a lot of videos so far, mainly because this takes a long time. Similar to drilling the holes. It's gotten colder, I stopped for lunch and a bike ride. And we made this nice and smooth. I kind of messed up a little bit, this is not super straight, but that's not too much of a problem. So we're just going to finish it off and go on to attempting to cut the main log, the main boards for the table. Go. Now, just put the main logs, the main boards. And my dad had this thing called the chalk line, which is used for drawing really straight lines with chalk. I tried it out here once, it works really well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use that in all the places. So yeah, it works pretty similarly to the other thing, but it's much cooler. I need to let it hang. A nice and straight way. Then you pull it really taut and up against the wood and go. And look at that. That's so cool. I really like this thing. It's very helpful. And look at how straight that line is. That's going to be one nice plank. Now shake it up, get that chalk all on the string again. I'll take up the nail I was using, put it in the third place. Put it on the chalk. All the way down, or at least as far as down as I can get. I'm not too worried about this. Let it balance out. Looks like right about there. Boom. 3 lines, 2 planks, and now we're ready to start cutting them out. Isn't that wonderful? Alright, so now we're gonna start cutting, and then I'm gonna stop recording because watching me cut all this wood would be really boring. Alright, so it's been a little while. Making these planks took way longer than I thought. We tried first a normal chainsaw, then a circular saw, then we found an old gas chainsaw, which did the job much faster, but none of which worked too well. And as you can kind of see at this board right here, it's pretty ugly, with like weird places where the chainsaw slipped or something. So we decided we needed a new plan. So I went and got a table saw and enlisted my dad's help. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these in half and then try to cut off some of this extra ugly part. It'll make the boards a little thinner, but I think in the long run it'll lead to a better table. So that's the plan for now, and hopefully it works. Alright, so we cut our halves in half once again because we found that that was the best way to get a nice smooth edge. It's a little extra work, but it works out better. Alright, so after all that cutting, we decided to discard and get rid of these 2 pieces because they were really weird, and because of all the mess ups, they'd be too thin. We kept these 6. We cut them all nicely. There's still little gaps, but is it really enough to worry about? We'll glue them together. We'll find some pieces maybe even like these, and we'll just cut it like this and put them underneath. And then we'll glue it all together and we'll have ourselves a table. So the next step after we have our table glued together is to make some legs for the table. And I found these two old wooden staves in our shed made out of this wood here, and I figured they'd make good table legs. They're still pretty rough, but with some work I think they'll make pretty good legs. But nobody uses a two-legged table, which means we need to make two more legs. And to cut them out with the chainsaw would take way too long, and we're not going to do it. So instead, we're going to split them out of this, and hopefully it works. So I'll start with a big axe. So as you can see, it's splitting pretty well so far. We've got a nice split. It's a little wiggly, but that's not a problem. And we'll try to get this axe down a little bit farther, but I have my hatchet that we'll hopefully use to finish the job. So we've got it pretty much all the way split. It looks like there's just some little fibers keeping the two pieces together, but hopefully that'll be fixed. And there we go. It's pretty rough, but I think if we clean this up and maybe split it again, we'll get two pretty good legs. It is really hot today. Okay, now we're gonna try to split off this bark side because we don't want it. That didn't work. We'll try it again then. So, splitting off the bark area really doesn't work that well because that outer wood, I think, is just a little wet and rotted. And as you get going, it just pops right off really easily. So I think what we're gonna try to do, I'm just gonna try to split it in half like this, which will hopefully give us 2 good sized legs. And then now we've got another problem, because this was supposed to split evenly, but it's too short, which means we may need to split another piece off of the big piece. Alright, we'll give it a go. Splitting this piece, I think. That'll work. Alright, once again it broke off a little quickly, but this one actually is long enough to make a leg out of. So there's 1 leg, 2 legs, 3 legs, and this is still pretty rough, but it works. 4 legs. Alright, so as we were working, we noticed that all of these planks still had a slight curve to them on these edges, which makes it very hard to stick them all together and make one large table. So we needed to find a way to solve that problem, right? So what we did is I took this, it's pretty much a giant ruler, and laid it on top of the boards, and traced it with a little crayon or something. And then we're going to need to freehand cut it on this line. We can't use the special guide because then it won't keep it perfectly straight. So we're going to need to cut that out, and then we'll have a bunch of nice things to stick together. So we've cut out all of our pieces. We've gotten all of our other pieces to go on top. And now we're going to start the process of gluing. So my job is to wet all these pieces, and my father will glue the opposite piece. We'll glue them together. Once those are all together, we'll do the same process for these, which will go right around here. And then the final step is to take the legs and attach them to the table. So here we go. Alright, so now we've taken the raw split wood and we're slowly sawing it into nice squares similar to this one that we already did just to try it out. And now we'll do this one. So now we've got these two. We'll continue cutting them into slightly better looking legs. But that's how it's done. So the final step of our project is to begin removing the material where our legs are supposed to go so that the leg will fit in. You can see I've already done it here and in all the other places too. This is the last one and I'll show you how I do it. So the first thing I do is I want to start with a drill and remove as much material from in here as possible, just with drilling. So these drills don't need to be anywhere in particular. You just want to remove some material. You can touch them up later and I'll show you how to do that. With these lines, I didn't just pick any square that I wanted, the right size. I used the bottoms of each individual leg because not every one of my legs are the exact same shape. And on the drill, I've also put a little piece of green tape. And the point of this is to tell me when to stop so that I don't by accidentally drill into my nice boards. Okay, so now we've removed some material with the drill bit. And I got a chisel and a little mallet I made out of a tree limb. And we're gonna try to break all these barriers between the holes and try to remove that.
All right, now it's starting to take shape. We can...
Alright, so it still looks like it's a little tight right in this corner and in the opposite corner on the other side. So we'll work on that a little bit. And there we go, we've got it in. So that's the final leg. I think we'll put all the legs in, stand it up and look, see how it looks. So we're done. 1 table and 2 chairs. It's time to have a drink. And a nice place to rest your cup. I hope you enjoyed watching me make a table. Thanks for watching.